I'm my camera.
Oh, really? Listen, Pat will send you some.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Oh, no way.
I haven't posted my blog yesterday yet. I like it. I'll send it to Jason.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, big time. We had the same problem.
Is that right? Say it one more time first.
My father was in the groups, the first 4 waves of B-29s over the Himalayas, where they were doing basically testing where they should get their altitude to save them fuel. And they all did 4 trips, and then they were all taken off that duty because it was rather a nerve-wracking.
Okay, I need 2 more volunteers on the end. Come on, Michelle. Gary, you stand over here. You're right there at the end. So he does a lot of flip-flop, 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 flip-flops as fast as he can. Dave, come on up here. He's the youngest B-29 aircraft commander since the Korean conflict. Are you going to take a flip-flop, flip-flopping today?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, pull your dog tags out. I don't know if you know this. These are his dad's dog tags, who was a B-29 tail gunner in World War II. Wow. And then you're going to introduce Mr. Vaucher.
Okay, so Bob, step up this way. So this man actually took delivery of the first B-29 the Air Force accepted from Boeing. He was the first man to have 1,000 hours in B-29s. And then, if I'm correct, you also led the flight of B-29s over the Missouri when they were signing the peace treaty. Is that right?
Absolutely.
All right, so I'll let you say a few words.
Tell him how many hours you had when you picked it up.
1,500 in this.
No, but when you picked up your first B-29.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
There you go.
Get back down there, David.
And how old were you? How old were you?
21.
There you go, man.
But more important, I had 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I was the first 1 hour and 25 minutes. He said, "You better fly it, Bob, because you've got 30 minutes more time than I have."
How was the landing?
The takeoff was what we did. We landed all right. We almost didn't take it off right. It wasn't rigged very well. Whoever testified, and it required a lot of adjustment in the tabs. I took off, and it's with all the rudder I could put on it just went off at an angle like this. And I got my co-pilot, my captain co-pilot on. We got it straightened out. We missed a great big crane that was sitting off the end. Right
Oh, Lord.
Holy cow.
But we had been, I had been sent to B-26 school in Del Rio, Texas, because they thought this flew a lot like the B-26. It had a landing characteristic, like you pull the power on a B-26, it went down like that. This did the same thing. That was the only similarity.
Yeah, our co-pilots find that out quite often. We know that characteristic all too well sometimes. Well, thank you, Bob. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Well, I was a colonel, but I was only 23 years old.
23 years old, you were a lieutenant colonel?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's why I probably led the flight over the battleship Missouri. On that particular flight, I got it by being at the right place at the right time, not because of anything else. General Ramey was supposed to fly it, and they decided he ought to be on the crew on board the ship. So he had picked me to be his pilot when he was going to lead it. And the day before the Missouri signing, they called him to Tokyo to be on board for the ceremony. So he said, Vaucher, you're going to take the command of the flight because you know all the details of it. And the main detail was MacArthur was supposed to put his signature on the peace treaty at 9:17 in the morning, and that's when I was supposed to lead 500 airplanes over. And we hit it right on the head, 9:17. But General Ramey said, "Vaucher, this is one target you better not miss." And we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many airplanes actually were overhead that day?
Well, it was about 500 B-29s and about 150 Navy planes. There were a couple of aircraft carriers in Tokyo Bay at the time, and they joined us. They flew cover over the top.
Such precision. All the planes. I have pictures my dad took from the tail of the formation. Just think, wow, how do they keep themselves in line? I mean, that's long before computers and all that kind of garbage.
How long were they flying over the target for?
Oh, I'd say that the trail was probably 20 miles long.
Wow.
Because we had each LeMay, who was our commanding general, ordered all the units. There's 3 wings and 3 squadrons per group, and he ordered that all airworthy airplanes should come on this. So it was about 18 airplanes per squadron, and each squadron had its own formation. So we had a stack formation, 3, 12 airplanes per formation, and they were all stacked up behind me, not at a higher altitude, and more or less the same altitude. We all flew over at about 2,000 feet. And MacArthur, when MacArthur signed the treaty after the Japanese, if you've all seen that movie, he signed it, and he looked up to his aide and he said, "Where are the airplanes?" And just about that time, we started coming over.
So he's your co-pilot today, right?
Yeah. He's gonna actually make sure we do it right, for sure.
Pardon?
You're gonna make sure we do it right. We fly
Oh,
this thing correctly.
you better do it right.
No pressure.
You want to continue being commander of this.
Whoa! I love it. I love
You might have to take over. Boy, it's not looking so good.
Just recently over the internet came a picture that somebody had of a B-29 with the nose wheel collapsed, and it's sitting up like this, just over the end of the runway, just short of a gully. That was my airplane. The nose wheel collapsed.
You weren't flying it, were you?
I was. Well, it's a long story.
What he's trying to say is
I ended up flying it. I ended up flying it because we were in trouble. Couldn't get the main wheels down. Wow. And I hope all you guys know how to crank these wheels down.
Yes.
We are taught many times.
Someday you might have to.
Yep.
And that nose wheel is very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little tab up there, you gotta take that tab off, put a crank in it, crank it down, and dial it down here, see that it's locked. That arm, see that arm there, keep it down like that, that's not down like that.
Well, they didn't teach me that in grade school.
Don't ever let that happen. If you want to know the real story on it, the nose wheel came down by gravity. And it indicated by looking down there that it wasn't locked. The flight engineer, I cranked it down. Afterwards, there's always a accident investigation. They found out that he was only turning the cap that covered in the floor, and it had been loose, so he had cranked it, and he thought that and he got to the end of what he could, you could put the crank in it like this and turn it like this. He thought it was locked, and it turned out that he didn't ever get the crank down in there and start cranking the right place.
So it never came down at all. It's still up.
Oh, well, yeah, it was down, but it was slightly back, which you could see that there, but it was hard to believe. So we just assumed it couldn't be, he couldn't crack it down any further. He wasn't a flight engineer after that.
Let me ask you this.
That was the end of his.
You have to tell us about how before every flight you line up all the crew and do a crew inspection. I think you need to do a crew inspection right now, don't you think?
I think so.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Vaucher here is going to conduct this. So scanners.
Ammunition, is all the ammunition on
It's
board?
all loaded, ready to go.
Okay. All right. But, do we have a flight engineer today?
Yes, we do.
We do. Flight engineer.
Tidy.
How are the engines? How many hours we got on?
2.
We got it made.
We got about 80 or 90 on these engines.
80 and 90.
Been on 3 years. We take good care of these engines.
How come they didn't change them already?
Because they're not broken.
Okay. Got everything in order.
We're ready to get.
Ready to go. All right. We got a tail gunner, we got a bombardier, and we got a top gunner. You don't have a full crew. We'll do it anyway.
We improvise and overcome.
The hell with those Japanese.
Now, would you say though that the pilots are the ones that get all the glory? Is that right? But the flight engineer gets all the work.
Yeah. No, that's about right. I have a picture here of my crew. You will see that I've got this top here in front of me, and I always put the crew up this
Yeah.
I actually made the crew leading people because without them I couldn't get anywhere.
Well, do you mind if I give everybody a quick safety briefing? Then we're going to go fly this thing.
Your turn.
For you guys that are sitting in the front compartment, real quickly here, this is the way you're going to get in and out, right through this crew hatch, right? Of course, they didn't have ladders like that back then, did they?
No. You did this. Swung up.
That's right.
Is there a handle in there to hang?
We do. We have the original crew ladder, but we use this one for passenger flights to make it a little bit easier.
All right.
And then for those of you who are sitting in the back compartment, we've got, or the gunner's compartment, I should say, a ladder on the aircraft right-hand side. That's going to be your primary way to get in and out. Any questions on that? Emergency exits, co-pilot, pilot, co-pilot windows, and flight engineer windows open. Just real quickly here too, if you're in the back, the overheating issues and all the...
Thank God.
Yeah, yeah, you probably wouldn't be flying in it. But anyway, these engines are much more reliable as compared to the older B29 engines. So, you were ready if that motor just made a tick. You were ready to handle the situation, weren't you?
Almost had that engine, number 3, burn off the airplane. Wow. It got the fire out.
That's pretty serious.
Yeah, we were very, very lucky. The flight engineer saved us on that one. That engine blew, the crack cage blew. It sounded like we were hit by an anti-aircraft. I mean, the old airplane shook. The flight engineer hit we had 4 fire extinguishers at that time in each engine. He hit all 4 fire extinguishers at one time. So that was not the procedure. The procedure was to hit 2, and if that didn't put the fire out, and hit the other 2. We found out later that was still, he did the whole thing at once. He did it out of procedure and got the fire out. Well, he made it another 1,000 miles on 3 engines.
1,000 miles on 3 engines.
That was the longest mission in World War II, 4,000 miles. Round trip.
Did you ever fly it on 2 engines?
Well, just testing it.
Just testing it.
Very cool. Okay. I'm going to go first. This is
right there. Yeah.
Okay, here, we want it first.
Well, you can hear it.